What is going on, Geeks and Gamers? We're here and we're live for Geeks and Gamers Daily. I think this is just the Friday squad, it feels like.
Yeah.
Most times it's going to be me and Jay. So if you
Yeah,
don't
I'm
like
sure
me and
people
Jay, Friday might not be the day for
It's
you.
not the same for you, man. The same for you. The
I
same for
see
you.
Jay has his Indiana Jones shirt on because he was just so hyped, so excited. He called me as soon as he got out of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and said, Ryan, I have a new favorite Indiana Jones movie. I love it so
Yeah.
much, I don't even think I can do a review on it because
I know I
I
probably
come off too
lost
biased.
a good $100 on my review not being out there, but oh well. I
$100,
just didn't have anything to
maybe.
say. It was weird. Like I was with my brother and we walked out and like this is the funny thing is like we went to the theater. Our theater was about a quarter full. There was plenty of seats and a lot of the guys that were there were dressed. They were dressed like Indiana Jones. They had fedoras on and everything. And when the movie was over, man, there wasn't even any clapping. The only time people clapped in the movie was when Sala showed up. At least in my theater, when Sala made an appearance, we were like, "Oh yeah, Sala!" But even seeing Sala and Indiana Jones trying to like run through the streets.
Yeah, I was surprised they had him actually run.
That was
like,
like
"Holy shit."
that was just like depressing. It was like, oh, but yeah. Anyway, so I left. I'm like, I don't even know what I told my brother. I was like, I don't even know what to say. Like,
You
what
see, you
can you
didn't like
say?
it.
It's like it just, and I didn't have anything to say, so I just left and I went to
You
work
say
on
you
other
didn't
stuff.
like it, that's all you say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
so
I should have done something, but I don't know. Just like, well, there it is.
So we are going to talk about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny a little bit because we both did see it. We'll give any warnings before we do any spoilers. The primary focus will not be spoilers or anything like that. But we're going to talk about The Flash, which that disaster is not over, although the theaters want it to be over.
Yeah.
They're abandoning The Flash. The Flash is about to lose 1,500 theaters. Which is a record for a third weekend DC movie to lose that many theaters. Now, obviously, a lot of that's to do with competition and stuff coming out, but at the same time, there's other stuff that came out right around when The Flash did that hasn't lost that many theaters yet. So it really shows that movie's making no fucking money and they're ready to see it disappeared
When do you
already.
with it, if it leaves that fast, do you think it'll be on streaming even faster?
Well, they've already announced 30 days. It's coming to video on demand, basically. Not streaming, right? But hey, it's gonna do home video release. So you can like buy it on
So like
whatever.
end of
You can
July,
rent
you
it.
think?
They already said that day. I
Oh,
made a
okay,
video
okay.
about it.
So was it July or August?
July like 17th or 18th
Oh,
or
okay,
whatever
okay.
is when it's coming to, home release video on demand stuff. I don't know when it's going to go to streaming. Like, hey, if you have Max, you'll just get it on streaming. I don't know that day. But I imagine it'll be sooner rather than later based off its box office results. There's no doubt about that. And we've also got some Jonathan Majors updates. There was a lot, man. There was a lot of fake news out there about what was going on with Jonathan Majors a few days ago. And now all of a sudden a big story has dropped from, which I mean, again, is Rolling Stone, not like they're super reputable. But there's a lot to talk about in terms of the Jonathan Majors situation, the people that spun up and pushed the fake news about Jonathan Majors, and
Yeah.
now maybe why that story was out there to counteract what is coming out now. Fucking crazy situation for sure. Kind of like we said the entire time with the Jonathan Major situation for 3 months now, over 3 months. We've been watching after Jonathan Majors got arrested, what his lawyers have said, what the other side has said, and kind of just you have to wait and see because to be quite honest, we've seen women lie about these things in the past. We've also seen men lie about these things in the past. And right now it's he said, she said, and it's still he said, she said. But some people
And
don't
a
want
lot
to
of
believe
people, you
that.
think a lot of people like in the Johnny Depp thing will begin to take sides, like the Believe All Women group, and then all that. They probably will make their way.
Oh
So
yeah, like those people have
yeah,
already said like there's already your Believe All Women group. There's
yeah,
your hey, this is exactly just like Johnny Depp group who are going to back Jonathan Majors.
yeah, yeah.
You have people that just like him, so they'll back him. You have people that don't like him, so they won't. It's all split right now. It kind of has been since the beginning, but we will get into that for sure. We got a couple super chats to read. Chef Nick Nero for 199. Where's the Sports Wars Perfect Game video? I haven't been making Sports Wars videos for the past couple days, so probably a little late on the news for it now. JG member for 14 months. Happy last day of Pride Month. You excited, Jay? Last day of Pride Month. Onto America Month.
I didn't even know it was a thing, but
you didn't know.
Happy last day. I should have worn my rainbow shirt.
There you go.
Oh well, to celebrate. And this year kind of, I think they started out strong, and then like about maybe 8 days in, like people just faded away. Like even like the only avatar that I really saw that changed to rainbow for me anyway on Twitter was like Navy Federal Credit Union. Like
they did.
Like they changed theirs, but like all these other big corporations that's done in the past were like, I don't really. Let's just move on, So
it's hard to believe, that now we're halfway through the year.
Yep.
Like officially, this is like the turnover. This is the last day of the first half of the year. Yeah. It's going by quick.
Yeah.
I just got my taxes done.
I met with my accountant this week because I got an extension, and so it's probably a culmination of everything. It's why I'm a little down. You got Indiana Jones, in my opinion, that was ruined, which we all saw coming. I met with my accountant to do taxes, and the United States government hiked. July 7th was the hike increase for the mail system. So I actually have to like come out of pocket a little bit more to mail these books out July 10th, just a few days later. But hey,
why don't you buy the postage right now? Just go and buy like 18,000 books of stamps.
I can't I have to weigh all this stuff, man. It's like it's my own fault. So like I said, like don't it is what it is. You're right. It's my own fault. I should have like had all this stuff. I'm learning as I go. So next time I'll be different. But yeah.
Oh, there you go. At least there'll be a next one. That's good.
There is. Soon.
Sleazy for 5 says Leighton Polygon, Ryan. I think we started the stream at like 11 or 11:01 or something. You guys talked about that Polygon article where they wanted to fuck Disney animals the other day, right?
I went over the whole thing on my live. Jeremy didn't want to open it up, but yeah. It was like it was the pictures were bad enough. But if you read why they thought these were hot, it's like that was even more disturbing. Like
the thumbnail picture on that was the one of Nala looking like she's ready to get fucked in the jungle.
Yeah, it was like
a
lot. Yeah, there was a lot of gerbils and rats on that list. That's all I have to say.
There's a lot of gerbils and rats in Disney, I think. Dom T becomes a channel member. Thank you, Dom T. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure for 5. Jay's the kind of guy who wears his Indiana Jones fedora while he gets it on in bed.
Hey, man, I'm not allowed to give out my trade secrets, but...
Gabriel Knight for 5. What's worse, The Last Jedi or Dial of Diarrhea? They both crap on their lead legacy character, but as bad as The Last Jedi is, it's not as boring as Dial. I kind of think The Last Jedi is a little boring, personally, to be honest. But yes, Dial of Destiny was pretty boring. Let's get into that, Jay. Dial of Destiny. First of all, what is your ranking Indiana Jones movies going into this from best to worst? I can tell you mine. Mine: Raiders, Last Crusade, Temple, and Kingdom. But I don't think Kingdom's as bad as a lot of people fucking say it is.
Yeah, mine is Temple, Raiders, Last, Kingdom. So
Temple's your favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though I believe Raiders of the Lost Ark is pretty much like a perfect movie, but I just love Temple of Doom. I thought just Temple of Doom was really good.
Temple stands out, especially compared to the other three, as different. It feels different.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think unanimously, not unanimously. There's some people out there that are saying it's better than Crystal Skull, but I think for the most part, you're going to see a lot of people have a new worst Indiana Jones movie, and that is Dial of Destiny. I saw it yesterday. You saw it yesterday. We've kind of known at least a core part of the plot for a while because of those Reddit leaks that came out after the Cannes Film Festival. To me, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character ruins the movie. I really think that that's the case. Just because we've seen sidekicks in Indiana Jones before. Nearly every Indiana Jones movie got some sort of sidekick, and they all might have their skills that are utilized in some way. And at some point in time, they do something that saves Indy, or they have a skill, or they're able to do something that he didn't expect to get them out of a situation. The problem was this sidekick character knew fucking everything. Knew every single thing, was better at Indy at everything, was obviously stronger because she wasn't as old, and she was constantly shitting on Indiana Jones the entire time.
Yeah, like
How did you feel about Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
She just left. Like, once you find out exactly who her character is and what she's trying to do, and I'm teetering on like not like giving too much away, but yeah, she just like Indy's trying to help her, and she just leaves him. She like even says in the movie a few times, "I wish you got shot." Like, what the freak?
And then he
She
did.
she also has her own short round, who is actually better at everything too, because her short round can fly planes and do all kinds of stuff as a young lad.
Well, Indy's short round was able to drive really well, even with like wood blocks on his feet. This one's able to fly really well, apparently.
He started an airplane without a key.
Hot-wired it. He's a criminal.
Hot-wired an airplane. And yeah, he was able to do all this with I'm trying not to spoil. He's able to do all this with the real pilot asleep in the back seat.
It was really weird. Let's talk about the beginning. Some non-spoiler stuff. Everybody has seen the trailer where you have de-aged Harrison Ford. Everyone kind of understands that plot. All you got to do is watch the trailer. You can tell, hey, this happened years and years ago, and now this person is back to rectify what happened before years later with Mads Mikkelsen's villain. The de-aged Harrison Ford CGI sequences, to me, felt like a facsimile. Like if you had told an AI to make a 15-minute Indiana Jones movie, like they would do something like that. It didn't quite feel right. It felt a little off. The de-aging looked great when Harrison Ford was just sitting there and not like actively moving around. But as soon as he opened his mouth, you're like, well, this is weird, because he sounded old as shit.
Yeah. He didn't sound like a younger Indiana Jones. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he sounded and it looked weird, but just like almost everybody else was saying, for like that first opening sequence was actually really like that felt more like an Indiana Jones film than anything else. And they were looking for the Spear of Destiny. Sorry, spoiled that, but yeah, so like
you are fucking incapable.
I can't help
about
it,
a movie
man.
without fucking spoiling.
I'm sorry. Well, it's only in the film for like 5 seconds, but so yeah, which was sad because there's like a comic book series about Indiana Jones and the Spear of Destiny or Spear of Christ, or whatever you want to call it,
Lance of Christ.
Yeah,
whatever they were saying.
Everyone's saying spoil it. We don't care, but I'm
putting it up now.
I'm just telling you, that's what Jeremy told me. He's like, when you go live, don't spoil it. So take it up with him. Take it up with Jeremy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we got to at least warn people before we do.
Yeah.
So since Jay's incapable of not spoiling it, we are going to be talking about spoilers. I've got the ticker at the bottom. But yes, it looked really bad, though. The CGI looked horrific in the beginning, and it was also super dark for a reason for all of those sequences. Indiana Jones movies are really like fucking paint by the numbers. Like they're really simple when you look at all of them, and all of them require some sort of first act where Indiana Jones is after something.
Yeah.
And he finds it, but then something goes wrong in some way, shape, or form, right? All of them, all 4 of them have something to do with that. This is the same way. And so it started off fine. It looked weird, but if you had a whole movie of that, I think it would be like strangely tolerable if they had just done the entire movie that way. But that's not what they decided to do.
Actually, yeah, I agree. But that's how it is. It's like they were looking for one item and they stumble across something else. And it was, I think with the CGI and the de-aging, it's like they were trying their best to make it look as real as possible, but that's why like a lot of it was very dark. Even when they were on top of the train, like the wind was blowing, it was dark, you couldn't really see anything, and so they just tried to, I guess they tried to figure it out that way. So, but the problem is, it's like there was so much stuff that they kind of took from the other films. Let me explain. So when his friend got the Dial of Destiny, he became overly obsessed with it. Very similar to Indiana Jones's dad becoming very obsessed with the
Mhm.
Cup of Christ. So like it literally was like almost the same story, And then you have Helena, Phoebe Waller-Bridges' character, who is the daughter of the dad who's obsessed, who is, yeah, maybe I can complete my dad's legacy or whatever. So it was like kind of like just taking that story and just dumping it in there. She
Yeah,
also has her own form of a short round, which we brought up earlier, her own little sidekick, who's a professional pickpocket thief and can fly a plane and can drive tap taps or tuk tuks, whatever they call them, that go 100 miles an hour in India apparently. And all that stuff. He was able to kill one of the biggest henchmen in the film. So
yeah. So basically the plot of this movie is Mads Mikkelsen's character is like a physicist who works
yeah,
with the Nazis. He is a Nazi, and he finds this dial of Archimedes, or he's obsessed with this dial of Archimedes. They found half of it, which in theory can like change time, right? Find fractures in time and
at
can
least that's what they
send you
think.
back in
Yeah,
time. And what he is thinking with that is, hey, this, because when you join, the movie starts as Germany's losing the war,
yeah,
where they're basically in full retreat, Hitler's in hiding, all of this stuff. And he's thinking, hey, we could use this to set things right and to get off on the right foot in the war so we're not losing World War II. Fast forward 25 years later, it's like 1969.
yeah.
Indiana Jones is a fucking old, tired, bitter man who wakes up hungover with a glass of alcohol in his hand in his underwear, and is yelling at people to stop playing music so loud.
Yeah.
He has divorce papers with Marion sitting on his
And
counter.
it's weird because in the previous films, he was working at a different university. They never
Yeah,
really, and he ends up in a low level, crappy apartment in New York,
it's because he's
and he's
going through
working at an
divorce. That's what
yeah,
I
and
think. Yeah.
he's working at another university. Not the ones like in the previous three films. So
And that to me is the biggest sin of this movie is, you want to talk about the Jake Skywalker treatment. They took Indiana Jones, and say whatever you fucking want about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's not a great movie, but I do think it's a decent movie. The end of that movie is a very happy ending.
yeah,
It's Marion and Indiana Jones. They're reunited. He finds out he has a kid that he didn't know about before in Mutt, and they get married, and they're about to start their lives together that have been on pause for a really long time. And it's a really happy way to send it off. They
agreed.
immediately fucking cut all that out. Not
Everything.
only is he getting divorced, they fucking killed off his son,
Yeah.
saying that
And blame the son as the reason for all his troubles, like
kind
because
of,
his son.
yeah, because his son went and died in Vietnam, and there was too much grief, and they couldn't deal with it, and it split up their family. They killed off Shia LaBeouf's character of off screen.
Yeah,
To me, I just think that's complete bullshit.
I agree. It's
Um,
stupid.
And at the end, all just at the end, to bring in Marion for nothing at the end to have a reuniting, where they already did the reuniting in the last movie.
Yeah.
So they really kind
Yeah,
of
and she just
just
comes in with
destroyed the
groceries and
character.
like everything's fine. And he's
Yeah.
like, and they reenact the scene from Raiders. Where does it hurt? Well, where doesn't it hurt? It doesn't hurt here. And it doesn't hurt here. And you're just like, come on, man. Like, ugh. And then I guess they die and grow old together in some crappy little apartment in New York City.
Maybe he'll move back into the house. Who knows? But anyway, so that is only part of the problem.
And yeah, I agree with you. Crystal Skull is a much better movie than this. And I can't stand these people that are like saying, "Well, at least it's better than Crystal Skull."
It's not.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not at all. Crystal Skull definitely has its flaws. The first hour of that movie feels like an Indiana Jones movie, like 1000%. It's not till he finds Ox
Yeah.
that it just doesn't feel right because he's a little too goofy. And kind of some of the stuff they're doing is a little bit goofy, and obviously the alien shit at the end is stupid. But that movie feels way more like an Indiana Jones movie than
Agreed.
this. Um,
You're right. It's just like when Helena shows up, all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I haven't seen you since you were 12," and she goes, "Hey, you happen to have my dad's dial of destiny?" And he's like, "Okay, let's just go get it." You know, even though you find out later that he promised her dad that he was going to destroy it, and oh man, it just was. And then as soon as she has it in her hand, she's just like, "All right, Indy, I hope you die." Like, done with you. And you find out that she's nothing more. She just wants to sell it on the black market to make money.
Yeah, that's the thing. You mentioned earlier that she wanted to complete her dad's like whatever, and it's like, well, actually, she's just after money. Like, and her character also, for some reason, they felt the need to show all the time that she's just thirsting. She just wants to get fucked by like every attractive dude that walks by. It's kind of weird. I don't know why they put that element in there at all. Didn't really make a ton of sense.
No.
But her character knows everything that Indiana Jones knows. She's constantly belittling him. Even opportunities they have for it to be like, oh, she was wrong about this one thing, they can't even do that. She like has to be right all the time. I don't have any issues with her saving him once or twice. It does seem like she's kind of always saving him, but I don't have any issues with a couple times because let's be real. We saw Marion save Indy. We saw Willie save Indy. By reaching her hand in that thing, so we've seen Indiana Jones get in situations where he needs luck or someone else to help him in order to not die. We've seen that before.
I'll give you that.
This is different.
I'll give you that. Miriam and all them. But this woman gets on a motorcycle in the middle of like a massive storm, chases down an airplane getting ready to take off, leaps off the motorcycle, grabs onto the wheel. Okay. Then magically, the wheel goes up into the plane and she's already up there. And it's like, saves the day. She's on the plane and like, oh my God.
To me, that was more realistic than any of her fight scenes. Like, she throws a hell of a punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one thing I couldn't stand either.
But then to save Indy at the end, because just to jump ahead, when they end up traveling through time and they go back to Rome or Italy, where Rome is invading Sicily, and Archimedes is there, Indy's like, "Wow, I've studied all this my whole life. I just want to stay." Yeah. And she's like, "No, you can't," and she just punches him in the face.
So to describe that a little,
like,
to describe that a little more concise or a little better. Yours was concise, but I don't know if anyone understands what that means.
That's true. I'm sorry, man. It just was like, what the freak is this?
Basically, the Nazis get control of the dial of Archimedes, and they're trying to go back to 1939
to kill Hitler.
Yes, exactly. To kill Hitler and like set things right so that they can win the war, which is kind of crazy. But it's interesting, right? I don't have a problem with that. But it wasn't ever meant to go back in time. It was only a set destination. It was so that Archimedes could get help when they were fighting the Romans. And so they go back to like 213 BC in the middle of this big battle. The plane ends up immediately getting destroyed by a bunch of like big arrows,
spears, and flaming rocks that hit this plane that has all the technology to fly above, and I
don't know why they decided to go so low.
So the Romans are just taking them out with giant spears and everything. Just like,
which those were like the arrows that they used to shoot against other like boats. And stuff.
So they're giant,
they were big, but
the Romans are looking up
a little bit.
The Romans
they think it's a dragon.
Like, we've got to take down these dragons.
We've got to take down these dragons. But anyway, so That plane crashes. All the Nazis end up dying. Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Indiana Jones parachute to safety. He's been shot in the chest for like 30 minutes at this point.
Oh yeah, that's
But
right. Yeah,
he wants to stay. He wants to stay there because it's what he studied. Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character's like, no, you can't. We got to get back. You're going to die if you stay here. And also, you'll change the course of history. You can't just stay here. And he's like, I don't care. There's nothing to go back to what? There's nothing for me in that life anymore. This is what I've studied. This is what I want to be a part of. He asked to stay with Archimedes. And the idea that Indiana Jones, because he's fucking lonely and depressed, would be willing to change the course of history as we know it is insane.
Yeah,
that's not Indiana
stupid.
Jones.
Yeah, he would never do that.
When you look at what Indiana Jones has done, his principles ever since he was a little kid trying to get that cross of Cortez, like he's wanted to preserve history.
Yes.
The idea that he would ever want to change it is nonsensical. It's completely against his character. And he doesn't want to go back to the point where Phoebe Waller-Bridge knocks his lights out, knocks him unconscious at the end of the movie to drag him back to the present. And even after she's done that, he's still mad until Marion walks through the door because she called her or something and was like, hey, Indy's back. And she brings him some groceries and they make peace. And that's the end of the movie.
Helena, the giant savior of them all, brings Indy back to reality. Not to mention, like, hey, you know, I traveled through time. Like, you know, what happened to the dial? Like, where's all that stuff? Like, what happened? You know?
Yeah, well, she said that they needed to take the completed one back, or they needed to take their version back. So we don't get to see how any of that happens. We don't get to see them flying back into the
she just knocks Indy out and we all get knocked out unconscious until Indy wakes up.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a really the movie went too long, by the way. It was 2.5 hours. That was way too long. There was a couple moments in there that, you know, made you feel like, okay, that's an Indiana Jones moment, like a little one-liner or a little smile from Harrison Ford or whatever. I think Harrison Ford does a good job in this, considering he's a freaking almost 80-year-old man.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think he gave a good performance.
Antonio Banderas makes a guest appearance only to get murdered. And Indiana Jones like, one of my best friends has been murdered who I haven't seen in like 30 years.
Dude, I was going crazy because I'm like, has Antonio Banderas been in a fucking Indiana Jones movie? No. So like the way that he turned when they introduced him, he's like, and like you see it's Antonio Banderas. I'm like, what the fuck? Is this really him? And it was Antonio Banderas. He's never been in an indie movie before, but you get told that they have a good relationship. So that was crazy.
In indie fashion, they did add like weird creatures. This one had eels that remind Indy of snakes, I guess.
I hated that.
And then they walk through a cave with giant bugs. Again, another Temple of Doom type situation.
Yeah, like they tried to incorporate elements of what makes an Indiana Jones movie in this. They did. Yeah. I think James Mangold is a really good filmmaker. He's made a lot of very good movies. I don't think this is one of them, but I do think you can see that I think one of the problems is you have a franchise that's been entirely directed by Steven Spielberg. And then all of a sudden you have a movie that's somebody who's not Steven Spielberg, who's a good filmmaker on their own right, but is trying to do an imitation of Spielberg. And I don't think it works very well. But there were clearly, like, yeah, you're right. There's elements to Indiana Jones movies, like slinking through these caves and getting past these things. One thing that I thought was wild was that at no point in time was Indy worried about like a booby trap or anything.
Yeah.
Because in almost every single one, you see at some point they're about to charge into this, you know, antechamber, and Indy stops them and is like, hey, don't fucking move. You know, while he studies things. There wasn't enough of that. I didn't feel
the one scene where they're in a cave and they're like, we have to stand somewhere where the echo sounds like a storm, and they're going ba 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 ba, and I was like,
ba, 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 ba.
Oh my gosh,
weird.
It's so dumb. Like, it's just that might have been the only like interesting indie scene, because they go into a room that's like filled with like inbreathable air, and they've got to figure out the puzzle to get out.
Yeah,
and Indiana Jones figures out the puzzle, but literally she did most of the heavy lifting. while trying to leave Indiana Jones, and like every time Indy tried to save her, she ended up like just driving off and leaving him stranded, or saying stuff like, I hope you get shot. Like it just was, I don't
She
know.
she was willing to let him die. Like when they first get introduced, they go and they find the dial. She was
Yeah.
willing to. She basically locked him in there,
Yeah. To get
killing
killed.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a miracle that he didn't get killed. She was willing to do that to her godfather or whatever. So she's a piece of shit. She's very annoying.
Yeah.
Um,
And she's a
eh,
thief. She just wants money. Like there wasn't anything. It seemed like they tried to give her somewhat of a conscience at the very end
yeah.
for Indy. Like she came back, like I don't know. She
Well,
just came back full circle, I guess.
I guess kind of a conscious, like, yeah, to save him or whatever.
Right.
But at the end of the day, she was in the right. She was the one that had to try to convince Indiana Jones to not change the course of history. She was the one that had to knock him out in order to prevent him from doing that. So overall, I thought Mads Mikkelsen was fine. I really like him as an actor. I don't think there was anything special about this performance of him as a villain in this.
He
The
tried to
group
set
of
the tone early though, like when he was in, like when the parade was happening for the astronauts, and this the waiter comes in
Yeah,
and he just
he's like,
rips
"Where are
this
you
guy to
from?"
shreds.
It's
He's
a
like, you,
black waiter. It's a black waiter,
yeah,
and he's a Nazi, or was. Now he's working for NASA as a rocket scientist, but it's a black waiter that comes in and he's like, "Hey, where are you from?" He's like, "The Bronx or
yeah.
Brooklyn or something." And he's like, "No, where are your people from?" And he like goes into this whole thing. I
And he's
did
like,
find
"You
it
didn't win the
strange.
war. Hitler just lost it." And it's just
Yes.
sent them out of the room. You're like,
Yeah.
what?
And then the one random black woman who's working with them
Yeah.
is the only person that seems like they have a conscience.
Yeah.
She gets killed by all the,
She gets
all the
killed.
white people are just fucking evil. So to me, that was on the nose to me at least.
But
But
bro, they're like,
anyway,
sorry, I don't mean to jump around. They're like they've traveled through time and they're in the plane, and these giant spears are being shot at the plane. And so the guy gets the machine gun. And he's like, I want to kill everybody. He's just shooting down at all the Roman soldiers and stuff. It just seems, I don't know, man. That's just dumb. That's
it
just
was
dumb to
really
me.
weird.
There's a
Really
way
weird.
that you could have done an older Indiana Jones. I say this over and over, but like, there's just a way to like just respect, like just respect the character. Like Tom Cruise did it, an older Tom Cruise in Top Gun. There's a way to respect the characters and keep them, around the same. They actually got They actually got in Top Gun. He used his old jet to escape, not his like original one, but the same style of jet to escape and just to pay homage to the first film. It's just like there's just a way to do this, and they didn't do it here. They just made him a bumbling fool, man. Like that's all I could see. That
There's
just doesn't care about life anymore, and it's just wasted away and whatever.
there's
So
elements of like what you could, like, little parts that you could take that could make a decent like old indie movie, but I think the biggest problem is what they did to him is that they tore him down that way. They don't
yeah,
want to see him that way. What it should have been was, like, say if Helena comes to him and is trying to get all this stuff and he snuffs it out. Like, he figures
yeah,
out that more is going on here. Hey, fucking play it straight with me, kid. I've tried to, stuff like that. And she says, okay, I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm in deep with these people. I thought I could fix it myself. And now I realize I can't. So then who's still with Marion, still with,
yeah.
maybe if you don't want to include Shia LaBeouf, have him off doing something else. Maybe he's doing some archaeological dig in Egypt or something, right? So that's
Or
why
you
he's
could just
not
say
there.
he's
You don't
serving
fucking kill
proud
him
in the
off.
military, like
Maybe.
whatever. Yeah,
And he's like, hey, I know I said I was done, but I gotta go. It's my friend's daughter. I have to. And Marion's like, well, I thought adventures were over, but I know the man I married. Go
yeah,
get him,
yeah.
Indiana
It's
Jones. Like,
that's it.
come the fuck on, dude. That would be fine. That would be great. But that's not what they decided to do.
I felt the same way. Like he could have retired, and then him and Marion are just gonna like have a little farm somewhere, and some terrorist group decides to kidnap him because he has all this knowledge of religious relics and government stuff because he was a spy and all that. It's like what a perfect person to try to, and then they could like, we're gonna torture you till you tell us where the dial of destiny is, and like, oh, I haven't heard that in a long time, and they bring in the real short round to come help rescue him and stuff. There's an easy way to do it with respecting the characters.
I
Yeah,
did like
instead of
seeing
like,
Sala. I liked seeing Sala, and I think it was in a way that made sense that they didn't like if they would have sent him with Indy, like it
oh,
would
it
have
would have
been
been
like
awful.
way over the top. But I like the way he was utilized.
Yeah, he was like, hey kids, this is Indy. He helped us get to America when our country was going in ruins, and this was it was pretty cool.
Mhm.
I agree with you. I like that was the only part that people kind of like clapped a little bit in my theater.
Anyway, all right. That's enough Dial of Destiny talk. I can't wait to talk about it again on
Yeah,
Friday
you'll be
Night
doing it
Tights.
for
So all right,
hours.
spoilers are over. Let's get through this. Unlimited power, remember, for 3 months. Why is Ryan cheating on Jeremy with Jay? Problems at the house? I don't live at the house. So
Yeah, I don't live at the
uh,
house either.
Abaru with 5 gift memberships. Thank you, Abaru, or Abaru. I never know how to say your name. Blue Futon for 2. Even John Campia hated Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Wow, that's saying something. Dr.
So did
Quagsire.
Grace. I think did Grace Randolph not say it? I
I
could be
think so,
wrong.
yeah. Dr. Quagsire for 10. On the Polygon article from yesterday, even when you can find that stuff in some sections online, last place you want to see be advertised to normies, degenerative but niche. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Floki the Mad for 5 months. All hail the 199. Glad Pride Month is over. Next is America Pride Month, the only true Pride Month. That's right. Brendan Bellman for 199. Grandpa Jones and the Dial of Dementia. Yeah. Yeah. Like seeing him run was wild. Because you can tell he did a lot of the shit
Yeah,
himself,
yeah,
and Harrison Ford is notorious for that. That's why he gets fucking hurt so much on set.
yeah,
But he did do a lot of the stuff himself. And the fact that he's out there at his age and able to do some is wild.
yeah.
But yeah, you
Hats
can
off.
tell it's an old man running, which is kind of sad, but kind of respectable at the same time.
Yeah.
So Wicked Virtue, what's up, Wicked Virtue, for $3 with a little corgi saying, "How's it going? What's
She
up?"
got a massive Rumble raid from the president yesterday on Rumble.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I heard they were doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Optimus Monkey for 2. You open the door.
Yeah, I guess so.
Carlos Estrada for 2. Can you react to a wild card football in Sports Wars? Is that the one with Colin Kaepernick in it? I might react to it, Carlos. Wicked Virtue for 5. KK replaced every one of George Lucas's white male protagonists with a brunette woman.
Sounds about right.
I will say clearly they wanted to like set up for like her to have some sort of spinoff. Like that's obvious. However, like in no way was there ever an inclination of her like taking over, of like grabbing the hat and the whip and like doing shit like that. That wasn't part of it at all. You never got that feeling. Just that they were like trying to establish a whole new character for
Yeah.
a franchise. That's really what it
Yeah,
felt
just
like.
to run some historical adventures, I guess.
Yeah, it like that seems to be, again, they've done that with, they did that with Star Wars, where it's
Yeah.
like, hey, we're going to set these movies up to, we'll use a character like this. We won't fucking pay respect to him. We'll use it for the name, but we want this character to be their own thing and set up for spinoffs and this show and that show. It's kind of the same way it felt with this.
Agreed.
But yeah, I don't think anyone in the theater ever felt like Phoebe Waller-Bridge is about to pick up the hat and the whip. Valientes for 10. Mangle decided to take Indy back to the same place at the start of Crystal Skull with some trauma added to it. Indy had character development in the previous 4 movies except for this one. Yeah, I agree.
It just reminded me of The Last Jedi with Luke. Just like he's given up on everything and I just want to be left alone. Yeah, like the first scene, it's like he's like half naked walking around and he's like, turn down the music. He doesn't even put like a shirt on. Well, he kind of
He gets his
does.
shirt half on and his
Yeah,
like
and he
belly's
bangs
hanging
on the
out.
door. He's like, can you turn it down? It's like he uses like an old wood stick too to like pound on the door. You're just like, with a bunch of hippies smoking weed in the other room. It's like, oh man.
The fuck, stupid mouse. Bush and Ryucat for 5. G&G chat. I have no intention of watching Diary of Destiny. We got MI7 next week. Oppenheimer the next. Should I watch Uncharted movie for my fix? I think we got 2 weeks before MI7, right?
Yeah.
I think we got 2 weeks before that. Or like a week and a half, basically, something like that. Should you watch Uncharted? I don't know if you should watch Uncharted. I don't think that's a particularly great movie either. I would watch Indiana Jones movies. The best part about Indiana Jones 5 is that over the past couple of days, I've watched all the other Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, I did too.
Ready.
That was kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm. And
just to watch them again.
And it made me like Crystal Skull a little more than I did previously. Just watching them all in a row. And being like, the first half of this movie really does feel like a fucking Indiana Jones movie.
It's really weird, though. It's like the Last Crusade had a send-off. The Crystal Skull had a send-off. And now this one has a send-off. It's like they did it 3 times now. They rode off into the sunset, which to me was the perfect send-off. Because then it's like, there's all that mystery of what happens. But yeah, I didn't mind. Like, I like the fact that he married Miriam. And it's like, all right, I'm going to be father now. Send off. and now they do it again. There's another send off.
Yeah. Bushin, I think this one is the last one, undoubtedly. Where was I? Steel Leg of History for 5. Ryan, I got all the plushies for my niece. Says your niece and Funny be blessed. You should see a meme of Jay singing. Thank you, Steel Leg of History. I appreciate it. Yes, we got about 24 hours left. If anybody wants to get on those plushies, you can go check it out. There's a link in the description for mine and Jeremy's. We got only got a little time left. 24 hours. If you haven't picked it up, go check it out. Here you go, right here. Boom. Where the fuck did I go? It skipped around on me. Fyodor Dinkstoyevsky for 5. After every Lucasfilm review, I leave Kathleen Kennedy should just go to therapy. What did men do to her besides let her ride their coattails? Yeah, they helped her out.
Yeah.
Steel Leg of History for 199. That'd be like taking my leg off in a fight. What would
Pretty
be?
Much.
Retribution 0 for 2. Mads is great as Hannibal. Give us season 4, cowards. Yeah, I heard a lot of people like that. Like that show. Siratan for 5. It's such a shame what they did with Indiana Jones. They should have sent Harrison Ford off better because he made the character. I think that Harrison Ford was down with what they did in this. That's what I think.
I mean, listen,
I don't think he would have done it if he didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 80 years old. They offer you like a big fat paycheck. He said that too about like coming back as Han Solo. And they were like, "Why did you come back as Han Solo?" It's like, "Well, the check was really good." So like, he said that, and
it's
not like the offers are like
80 years old. How much money does this motherfucker have?
I know.
He's 80.
He likes buying airplanes now. Like that's
he crashes a lot of them.
Yeah,
so.
That's like his thing. He's like, I'll buy another an airplane. So
what? Because he's doing Marvel now too. Who knows how many things he's gonna be in as General Ross? Like
that's true.
He's committed to that for a while, probably. I would assume. I can't imagine they're just doing a one-off with him. SBZ.
The way things are going, Marvel, you just never know, man. Never know.
Who was it? It was William Hurt, right? Who played how old was William Hurt when he died? Oh, yeah, William Hurt was 71 when he died last year. They recast him with Harrison Ford, who's almost 80. Like, how old is Harrison Ford?
I think he's 80. Yeah, he is.
He's 80 years old.
Yeah.
So William Hurt passed away, left Hollywood, as Josiah would say, and they recast it with Harrison Ford, who's 9 years older, which is just wild. But yeah, that's crazy. SBZ for 5. Indy 5 was not made for the fans nor the critics. It was made for Kathleen Kennedy. Mr. H reviews at Drinker Open Bar. Lord Baratheon for 5. You guys see apparently Deadpool 3 is almost done filming. How is that possible when it started filming this month? I don't know. I did hear that it is almost done filming. I don't know what that means. I don't know how much longer that means.
Who knows?
Depending on the movie and if they do it the right way, and what they're doing, if they're doing it a lot of practical stuff, or if they're doing a lot of stuff in front of green or blue screen, if you set everything up right, you can do a shoot in. I mean, if it just started filming in June, that is kind of crazy to do it in 4 weeks for a movie like that, but 6 weeks maybe. And then obviously you're going to have reshoots and stuff like that, but that is kind of wild. That's a very small time window. Maybe the fact that they can't do any rewrites or anything like that because of the writer's strike is making it so they're just kind of have to film what they have. They can't do anything extra. I don't know. That's just all guesses for me. Let's see. Redman for 5. Sup, you catch the Dune Part 2 second trailer? Thoughts? I did. It's awesome. I can't wait for Dune Part 2. They got a 3-minute trailer out there. It looks fucking phenomenal. My two most anticipated movies of this year, Mission Impossible 7 and Dune Part 2. So
correct me if I'm wrong. I saw the budget for Dune 2 was only like 140 million.
Yeah, maybe less, I think. Yeah.
140 million to make a masterpiece,
and it looks phenomenal. That's less than the first one, and I think it's because obviously the first one it's not like the first one was a massive box office hit. I think they did the fucking HBO Max like release with that thing too. You know what I mean? When Warner Brothers was trying a lot of that stuff, so that could be one reason why maybe you didn't have the success you thought you might have with it. But maybe that was one of the things they did with Part 2 is like, okay, we're going to greenlight it, but we're really going to watch that budget. And the fact that they're able to do what looks like an incredible science fiction epic on that budget, while Indiana Jones is out there spending almost 3 times that is crazy to me. I think I saw it was 120. I saw Nerd Cookies tweeted about it. Let me check.
Nerd Cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me see. She loves her Dune. 122 million. 122 million.
Yeah.
Class C Radio for 199. Go ahead.
I was going to say, now if Warner Brothers would stop claiming anybody that does a reaction to the teaser trailer, then they might have something there. But
yeah. Class C trailer for 199. Thank you. Nerds and Normies for 5. Indiana Jones 4, 5, and 6 do exist. They're called The Fate of Atlantis, The Emperor's Tomb, and The Staff of Kings.
Yeah, that's excellent.
What do you think of the young Indiana Jones stuff?
Like the TV show?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a problem with it. I think they made it exactly how they like a TV show. It was like a TV show quality type adventure series where it takes him as a little lad and moves him a little bit, further on. So I had no problems with it. There was an episode. I think the last episode of the Young Indiana Jones series, Indiana Jones was like 90 years old, and he had a patch over his eye, and he might have been missing a leg. I don't know, but and he was all like talking about his adventures and how cool everything was, and it was like, yeah. Man, I lived a life, man. Go out there and live your life and live a life that's worth living. And it's like, yeah, that's how you do it. Not, I don't got nothing to live for.
What if they had taken his eye in this movie?
Just to match that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, you got to make it line up, right?
Yeah.
He's got to lose it. Well, how's he going to lose it now? Fucking accidentally takes a pencil to the eye or something?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
He did grab his hat at the end, by the way. We didn't say that before, but he did. His hat was hanging up to dry or something outside, and he grabbed his. He
just kind of grabbed it, and then they did the old-fashioned circle on the hat. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Aberu with another 5 gift memberships. Thank you, Aberu. Nagardnal for 5. Have you seen the trailer for Small Soldiers 2? I'm actually hyped. Really hope they don't inject it with woke crap. I have not seen that.
I did not. You talking about the the action figures that come alive.
Small soldiers.
Is that what they're talking about? Is that what you're talking about? 'Cause I really liked the first one. I thought that was a cool concept.
That was when, if I remember, it was like the army guys were like the villains and they were trying to kill those aliens.
Because they
Whatever,
put
right?
like a special computer chip in them to make them more realistic, and they just got their own personalities. Yeah, but they got smarter and they like took over a small like house.
I think I don't think it's a real thing. I think it's a proof of concept trailer.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's not like it's not a real thing, I don't believe. It's not like Small Soldiers 2. I think it's somebody that wanted to create it, be like, hey, this is what a fucking Small Soldiers reboot could look like or something. So that's from
Did you
what
ever
I'm
see
seeing.
the first one? That's an older film, but I thought the
Yeah, at
concept was kind of
98.
neat.
I remember that. I used to have it on VHS. Optimus Monkey for 2. I swear my wall is not crooked. It's not. Dr. Quagsire for 2. Secret Invasion. Indy, who's next? I guess we'll see. Ko Lee for 5. Indy's going to have another kid in the next movie, then another divorce after that. The cycle never ends. He ain't getting a kid with Marion, that's for sure. She dried up. So
Unless he
Nick
travels
Savage.
back in time.
Maybe. That's what he actually uses it for, to see Marion before, before the dark times.
Man,
Nick
I didn't
Savage.
even when she walked in, dude, I didn't even recognize her.
I mean, I did because I knew she was coming in, but yeah. Nick Savage for 10. How Starship Troopers made in the 80s look better than new age movies. Practical effects.
Yeah.
Lord Baratheon for 5. It's reported that after Cap 4, Thunderbolt Ross will be in Thunderbolts, and apparently he's going to be in the next Avengers films. Yeah, so he's signed on for a fucking while. Redman for 5. There's actually a story I read a few months ago that Harrison Ford is going to do a sequel to Air Force One. Don't know if there's any truth to it. I mean, if he was the president in like 94 when that came out, what would he be now?
Yeah, I know. Like what?
Air Force 2.
An advisor.
The fact that Harrison Ford's older than Joe Biden is wild. Die with a Gun for 5. Hail G&G in chat. Do you notice the black agent woman called a henchman a cracker for no reason? I don't know. I heard a couple people say that. I thought I caught it in theaters, but I wasn't sure because it just went by really quick. But yes, I did hear that might have been the case. Quadrina VR for 199. A cat scratches his eye when Fleabag scares it. That would be good. Lance for 5. It's only 5 minutes long tops, yet Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland has a better story than Dial of Destiny. Is that true, Jay?
I have never been on that ride, but I would love to.
Gary said she did call him a cracker. Yes, the one, the black CIA agent, I guess. The black CIA agent with a conscience who's working for a Nazi who gets killed by Nazis because she won't go evil with them, with all the other white people. Jay's Salty Taint with a gift membership. Thank you. All right, Jay, we need to talk about Flash. All right, let's get
I like the Flash. Put it this way. I like the Flash better than this movie.
Yes, I agree. I would definitely agree with that. The Flash, I think I was going to say, obviously Indiana Jones is such an iconic character. Michael Keaton's obviously pretty fucking iconic too. I don't think he was done nearly as dirty in The Flash as Harrison Ford was in this movie. But let's get to this. It has not been good for Indiana Jones. Fuck. It has not been good for The Flash. We just spent an entire hour talking about Indiana Jones. So I got it on the mind. Things have not been good for Warner Brothers when it comes to The Flash at the box office. After all the hype, after all the fake celebrities saying that it was just the most incredible superhero movie ever created, well, then it actually came out and people saw that was a lie. A $55 million opening weekend, followed by a 72% drop at the box office, an all-time low for DC movies. That's how bad it was. Well, Jay, things just continue to get worse because after everyone now realizes this movie is likely to lose $250 million at the box office, theaters have just given up. The people in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, they have given up on The Flash. Look at this. The Flash, our exhibitors seem to have lost patience and want The Flash gone in a flash. As 1,538 movie theaters domestically will stop playing it on Friday. That's the steepest loss of theaters for a DC film in its third weekend ever. to put that in perspective.
Third weekend. Holy crap.
Yes. So like to put that in perspective,
Wow.
Elemental's only going to lose 300. And that came out the same weekend as The Flash. It's gonna like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is still gonna be in more theaters. The Little Mermaid is probably still gonna be, or at least in close to the same amount of theaters, even though that came out way before The Flash. The fact that a movie like The Flash is losing 1,500 theaters in its third weekend is absolutely wild. Obviously, they do have Indiana Jones coming out this weekend. You want to make room for that for sure, things like that, but still a new pathetic low for them. This might be one of the reasons why we saw that, oh, by the way, Flash is coming out digitally in 30 days after its release because they know there's going to be no legs for it at the box office. You might as well get some money out there video on demand while you can. Things just continue to get worse for this movie.
I mean, the theater's got to make money. Can't make money if nobody goes. If you got these big empty theaters that no one wants to, go in and see this film, they're not going to make any money on that. So it's just, man, talk about a snowball effect, man. Like that is just, I don't know. I can't wait till like it's released, on streaming, and then the numbers are like nobody's even watching this on streaming. This movie might just fade away like a fart in the wind. It'll just be a distant memory before the year is over.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Transformers is only losing 600 theaters, right? So Transformers is losing 600 theaters. Flash is losing 1,500. That means that Transformers is going to be in more theaters than The Flash. Like,
yeah,
and it's like fourth or fifth week of release. Transformers, which it's not like that's been doing crazy at the box office,
right,
is going to be in more theaters than The Flash. That is
Transformers
bad.
even like gave away their surprise ending on Twitter. They literally played it on their Twitter account, and yet that's going to be in more theaters than The Flash. I swear, man, comical.
I mean, look,
it's just going to get worse. I'm telling you, man. We're going to see. I believe we'll see the same thing with like the rest of these films coming out. Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2. I mean, it just doesn't look good. And then, of course, what's Marvel got coming up? The Marvels.
I can't wait for the Marvels. That's going to be awesome. So many people seem invested in Secret Invasion as the second lowest rated show in Marvel's history on Disney Plus. But yeah, when it comes to DC, when it comes to the Flash, they sure were quick to start talking about Superman, to start talking about that cast, and to get people distracted from the current disaster and being, oh, this is what the future has in store for DC. Because they're setting records, just not the records they want. Worst second weekend drop ever. Most theaters dropped in the third weekend ever for the Flash.
Do you think because the director came out like a week before the movie and said, hey, Nicolas Cage's Superman is in this film, do you think like any of the old CGI leaks like just made it worse for people? They're like, well, I wanted to see the cameos, but they're all on TikTok now, so what's the point in seeing this film? The fact that, James Gunn is like, we're going to do a whole new universe. And it's like all that stuff probably just piled on, plus the Ezra Miller woes probably just piled on to this thing, like people just not caring.
Yeah, I think it was a culmination of everything for sure. I don't think the fact that someone said, oh, by the way, Nick Cage is going to be in a cameo, I don't think that necessarily kept people away. I think it's just a culmination of everything from the Ezra Miller controversies to James Gunn announcing a reboot to the way they did Henry Cavill, yet kept Ezra Miller, not because they wanted to keep Ezra Miller, because they didn't want to say that, oh, he's not going to be part of it going forward before they released it. All this shit just combined for a massive disaster for them.
But I mean, because like even the second teaser trailer, they literally made that a Batman trailer to like almost try to sell it as a completely different film.
For sure.
It's like, come see Keaton as Batman do his thing again. So what a disaster, man. Like I don't know. How are you studio? Like they're looking at this like, well, all right, we got two more. Let's see how they do. Blue Beetle's up next. Let's go, man. Let's go, Blue
And now
Beetle.
They're trying to be like, oh, by the way, Aquaman 2 is kind of like a standalone thing. They're trying to like disconnect it. It's not going to work. Thanks to the 600 people watching us over on Rumble. We appreciate you guys over there. Thank you. Redman for 5. Do you think the beginning of all the woke bait and switch movies started with Mad Max scene? That's what I've always thought the beginning. Was that Mad Max Fury Road or whatever? I don't know. It's tough to tell. It's tough to go back into. I remember watching Avatar, and and like look at my buddies and be like, this is like environmental propaganda. What the fuck is this? So it just depends on your perspective.
Well, he kind of changed it a little bit this time around. It's like save the whales, and we're all like, yeah, we know.
That's right.
Let's dip back into those old 80s propaganda stuff, and like that way everyone will agree with that. Save the whales.
Optimus Monkey for 2. Thank you. Mikey likes it for 199. Thank you. Dr. Quagsire for 10. Did you hear Disney Animation and Pixar are re-releasing old movies? Is it 100-year celebration, them being desperate for these studios to make money this year? I think it's both. But yeah, it's no surprise that with all the flops and failures they've had, they're like, hey, guys, we're re-releasing some of our classic hits. Please come watch it and remember that we used to be known for making good movies.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to share it. I have it here. But these are all the movies that are coming out. Toy Story in July, Frozen, Beauty and the Beast, The Incredibles, Coco, The Lion King again,
dude.
Moana. So it's like, yeah, remember when we used to be good? Well, come experience it again in the big screen, even though I think they're all available on Disney Plus. Are they not? I don't have it, but I'm pretty sure all these old films are available on Disney Plus, but yet they want people to.
They're taking them out of the vault.
Oh man.
Mark for 5. I can't wait to see The Acolyte fail next from Lucasfilm. That'll be fun. Redman for 5. Could Batman Beyond with Keaton and Burton beat Warner Brothers' Savior, Beetlejuice next year? Listen, I know a lot of people are very excited for the Beetlejuice sequel, okay? A lot of people very, very excited for Beetlejuice.
Is that real? I didn't even know.
You didn't know? Yeah. Keaton's doing it right now. They've got a Beetlejuice sequel coming out. But I don't think they're going to do Batman Beyond because they came out and were like, hey, if The Flash does really well, we might consider doing Batman Beyond. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. So, unfortunately.
But I mean, it's like, are we going to see more things pushed back because of writers and apparently the actors strike that's coming?
Yeah, for sure.
So it'll just be less and less.
Today might be the last day. I think the actors will officially go on strike at the end of today. This could last a long time. Like that, you want to know why they're saying that fucking Deadpool's about to finish filming is because they were probably trying to get things done as fast as they fucking could. Like, because they're about to strike. So, this could throw a lot of wrenches in things, no doubt. But I got to talk about Jonathan Majors quick, because I made a video, and we won't talk about it long because, to be honest with you, it's really just more he said, she said. But there was a really big story that was going viral on Twitter a couple days ago. People were saying Jonathan Majors has been acquitted, that he's won his case, that his girlfriend has been arrested, all of these things. I'm talking tweets going viral over that. People making YouTube videos saying it. That's not true. Jonathan Majors is still doing court on August 3rd. He has not been acquitted. He has not been found not guilty. His court case is still moving forward. And his ex-girlfriend has not been arrested, at least as of this point. I'm going to show you guys a couple things. This right here was an article that got put out there. Jonathan Majors scored huge win in domestic violence case. This article spawned all of that stuff. And it's from a couple quotes from Jonathan Majors' lawyers, by the way, which they're doing their jobs as his lawyers and defending their client. I want to pull some quotes here. Chaudhry said that Majors met with the NYPD last week, so this would have been like June 22nd, to present them with evidence of what really happened that night. Within hours of viewing the evidence and conducting their own thorough investigation, the NYPD found probable cause to arrest Grace Jabari for assaulting Jonathan Majors. This is not a statement that she got arrested. It's a statement from Jonathan Majors' lawyers saying that they found probable cause to arrest her. They haven't. And all the NYPD said is, hey, no additional arrests have been made. We're still investigating this. That's all that they have said. But, this probably would have been a better headline in one New York Post used. Jonathan Majors claims he was the victim in March assault, files counter complaint against X. This is what they have maintained for the last month or so. This is their side of the story, that Jonathan Majors was looking at his phone, that she tried to get his phone from him. And when she couldn't get the phone, she started hitting him, scratching him, all of these things, that he was just moving away, that he didn't do anything wrong, that she went out drinking that night and she got injuries. We don't know how she got injuries, but this is our story. That's the same story they put out in court. This is just an update saying that they went to the police and said this very same thing. I don't know why it took 3 months to give the police this information, but that's the story that's out there. I have a feeling that maybe one of the reasons that this story got put out there from Jonathan Majors' lawyer is because they knew a massive hit piece was coming down the pipe from Rolling Stone, which people at Rolling Stone, a lot of fucking pieces of shit that work there for sure.
Yeah.
But this is an article that they've been looking at for 3 months, or article they've been building for 3 months. Jonathan Majors' extreme abuse allegedly goes back nearly a decade.
Jeez.
And they've got over 40 people, anonymous people, that he's worked with professionally, that he went to school with, and some former partners who are coming forward and saying things. This doesn't mean that any of that's fucking true, but it's not just this headline. Jonathan Majors scores a big win. A lot of people have put that out there and said Jonathan Majors has been vindicated and it's all over for him. That's not the case. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's lying. I don't know who's telling the truth. We've seen men lie about domestic abuse allegations.
Yes.
We've seen women lie about domestic abuse allegations. Right now, at this point in time, there's nothing more than he said, she said when it comes to this exact thing, and it's still playing out in court. This article is not going to look good for Jonathan Majors for sure. Especially there's a portion in there where Jonathan Majors' attorneys presented Rolling Stone, knowing that they were doing this interview, with statements from Jonathan Majors' exes that were all very glowing about him. Those same exes in the article said, we never said those things to his attorneys, and we never gave them permission to release statements like that.
Yeah, it's like a complete turnaround.
It is. So what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of people, even maybe some of your favorite YouTubers, who might see a headline and think something or say something. I saw YouTube videos being made about Jonathan Majors being innocent all of a sudden. Really, we're in no different part right now with the Jonathan Majors case than we were a couple weeks ago.
You have to wait till August 3rd, basically. We'll have to see what happens on August 3rd. So trying to win the that's definitely a tactic to try to win public opinion, and there will people that will slander his name and try to find random people to say bad things about them. But there'll be people on the other side of the coin that will do the complete opposite. So, but at the end of the day, it's just, you gotta wait till he goes to court, man. Like that's the final judgment on the whole thing.
The trial of Kang. Yeah, the trial of Kang. And the crazy thing is, even, what I said from the beginning was, my gut instinct was that something happened in that car, that she wanted to see his phone, that she started going after him, maybe even hitting him or something. And the question will be, did he retaliate in any way, or what happened? Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it like whatever. But if someone's hitting you, you can certainly defend yourself and all these things. But what happened? That's always kind of been what I've wondered.
Well, it depends what state you're in nowadays.
That's true. That's true. Very true.
Because, if you're in Florida and you defend yourself, it's a little different than if you were in New York or even now California, where, you could literally rob a store according to the law. And as long as you don't steal more than $900, you just have some fun.
And so even if she does get arrested, that doesn't mean that Jonathan Majors is innocent either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just so much. And I saw a lot of people 2 days ago or so basically going out there saying that she got arrested, saying that Jonathan Majors was acquitted, saying that the case is over. None of that is true. It's far from over. And it looks like it's only gotten murkier in the past couple days.
Yeah.
I would imagine that someone's attorney is going to say that they're not innocent, or sorry, that they're not guilty. That's their job.
That's their job. Yeah.
So it's just wild. At the end of the day, I want the truth to come out. I want to know exactly what happened. They have been claiming they have video evidence of the thing in the cab, yet they failed to provide that to anyone yet. So I want to see all the evidence. I want to see it all get out there, and whoever's fucking guilty should be punished. If someone made fake allegations, they should be punished for that. They should be crucified for that in terms of legally. So we'll see what happens going forward, but it's definitely not crystal clear who's winning right now. That's for
Interesting
sure.
thing though, Marvel hasn't released them, so
They also haven't like said anything about him.
yeah, they're just kind of like seeing what happened. You know, like I guess they want to probably wait until August 3rd to see where this thing goes.
But anyway, that's the Jonathan Majors update. It's crazy. I like, to me, there's a lot of things that his legal team has done that have looked sketch. Like those text messages they released was a terrible move for them. The fact that you now have ex-girlfriends claiming that his defense team released false statements from them, that's not a good thing. But all depends on where it's coming from. Time will tell. Anyway, let's Mike has bad knees for 5. I feel like we're gonna find out that Jonathan Majors voted for Trump the way they're going after him. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. See if we can find Jonathan Majors' voting record.
Yeah, that'll determine a lot.
But let me check.
I could see it now. If he did come out and like, well, I did vote for Trump, there'd be people that are like, I was quiet on the situation, but until now, I feel like I need to say my piece that he probably is guilty. I could just see the crazy people online.
Well, if you remember, so a day after he got arrested, there was a couple people that came out with statements on social media that said, yeah, we kind of always knew this about Jonathan Majors. We knew he's this kind of person, but we're waiting for someone to come forward, blah, blah, blah. Like people that have been in the theater industry in New York, like that's where Jonathan Majors was from before he became a big time actor. They mysteriously deleted their tweets a couple days after that.
Yeah, they did.
And is it because they were full of shit and they were lying? Maybe. Is it because they were contacted by a legal team to take it down? Maybe. There's a lot of stuff out there. And not very clear at all. But we're good over on Rumble. Good over here on YouTube. Wait, Redman for 5. Kevin Smith used to be awesome. Now he sucks. Chase Name is my favorite movie by him. I think he wants to pretend now it doesn't exist. Kevin Smith, as soon as he lost weight, he sucked. So, stay fat, I guess. If you want to be funny, stay fat. Jay, what do you got going on?
That's about it, man. Not much happening. Getting ready for my trip next week to get these books out, and that's kind of been my primary focus. So we got July 4th. So I would have head up this week, but July 4th kind of like messed that up too. So you know, as we celebrate our independence. But that's pretty much it. So
there you go.
I don't know if I'm gonna do a video on India. Like I feel like I don't know. It's just like what else can you say? I would just literally go like the movie sucked, and
we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, I'm just saying like for my own channel. So maybe I'll talk about it Saturday on my live stream. But yeah, no,
I did one on my other channel. It did pretty good.
I'm actually enjoying building my own universe. So with this series, but it's pretty cool. That's it, man. That's all I got.
I did a review for Indiana Jones on our Outpost Live. Did pretty good. So that's why I like to put all those.
All your videos do really good. What are you talking about, man? I don't think you've actually laid an egg in about 3 years.
That's not true. There's a couple rough ones over the past couple weeks.
Yeah, a bad one for you is like what, 50,000 views? That's all I keep up.
If I don't crack 30, it's rough.
Yeah, okay.
My channel's bigger though.
I just hope to do 5,000. Like if I can get to 5,000 on any video I put out, I feel that's a win.
Yeah, my one I did yesterday on Arcade Plus Live is almost at 30,000 views, which is pretty good. That channel's about to hit 19,000. We'll see.
Look at
that. But someone said Jamie Foxx news. As far as I know, the Jamie Foxx news is we still haven't seen this motherfucker, and that his agent or publicist said, "Don't worry, he'll be returning to Hollywood soon." That's all I know. I don't know anything more than that, so I'm not sure. All right,
it's really weird.
It is weird.
You got FNT tonight in a few hours.
Yeah. Lance for 5. Let's be frank. The only reason Majors hasn't been thrown on the bus by Disney the way they did to Depp is because he's black. Hey, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it's because they had so many plans for him in the future of their universe that they're really scared of what they might have to do if they recast. But anyway. All right, guys. That's it for us today. We appreciate it. We'll be back on Monday. I don't know who will be here. Probably me and maybe Jeremy. Is that who will be here? I don't know. We'll see. Tune in Monday to Geeks Gamers Daily and find out. Have a good one. Peace.